should have one base, and this is just, 1x4 piece of pine. We cut it down to 36 inches, and I had our students drill the holes to at least give you something to get started with. And again, before we did that, teachers would have to actually, buy a long piece of wood, cut it to length, have the kids, use a hand drill to start drilling the holes. So even though you do not, you don't have to use these 6 holes, your roller coaster doesn't have to be that long, but that just kind of gives you some sort of starting point for the kids. Okay, so you're going to get that base. That's what you should have at your schools. One piece. This is 3/4 inch polyethylene, I believe, pipe insulation. Just cut in half. We have a special jig that you just slide it through and cuts it right in half. And it's 6 feet long, and it can't be cut, and it can't be extended. I know some days, some years at CPEP Day, I've seen kids with really, really cool roller coasters, but they, took more than one track and, put them together. So unfortunately, it was a cool looking roller coaster, but it couldn't be considered for the competition. I think they kind of, rated that on a separate tier, which meant that they, they weren't going to win first, second, or third place if their roller coaster was either cut or lengthened. Okay. And also, one of the big changes here as far as the Going Green theme, the only way that a team can win a first or second or third place trophy in the theme, the design of it would be if it is a Going Green theme. I mean, last year, it wasn't our school, I don't know who did it, it was a beautiful, was that your school?
No, but we won the first prize last year.
For the design?
Not design.
Oh, for speed, or for the overall score. Okay, but there was one. We did a Candyland one a few years ago, but there was one. It was like a Ferris wheel. It was a beautiful looking roller coaster, absolutely beautiful, and they won first place with it. But this year, something equally as beautiful isn't going to place at all because it doesn't have that Going Green theme. So if that's not the case, then you have to do what you did, Mahendra, and get the highest score. So that's what I thought we'd do tonight. Let you guys and ladies build a roller coaster. We'll see who's got the highest score. We're going to score it the same rubric that they would on CPEP Day, and then you'll get an extra set of experiment parts. Yes?
I'm going to run through that one real quick. Just tell us what happened.
Sure. So anyway, so these are the pieces. You should hopefully have enough dowels, and if not, we can blame Meredith. But just kidding. But you should have 2 36-inch dowels, 2 24-inch dowels, and 2 1-foot dowels. So that kind of gives you the layout, the way the roller coaster should be, starting from its highest point and going down. Okay. And these are just 1/4-inch, I think they're poplar dowels. And if you need any extras, whether, we have extra ones that we could give you if you let Meredith know. Or I find a lot of times kids, their roller coaster shorter, so they don't use, one particular set of dowels. So they can use those, or you can reinforce any kind of loop that you have with coat hanger wire, anything that they want to use. The only real limitation to the roller coaster is that you use this piece of track.
Could you give us an example of what you mean by going green?
Well, going green, I suppose that, they could use parts, anything that's recycled. I don't know about maybe making the supports, just an idea, maybe a 2-liter bottle for a support rather than the wooden dowels, although this is recyclable. I think they're looking for something really, really different. Or maybe even if they stick with the same basic type of design, but have a nice big recycle bin somewhere's on there. I don't really know exactly what they're looking for, but I know just a pretty roller coaster is not going to do it anymore. And again, I wish I had, I could say one of my kids got a real, real good idea, but I haven't seen too much. CPEP Day is, it's going to be here before you know it. So those are the basic parts of the roller coaster. So this is one that some students are working on, and as you can see, they're not sticking with the green theme at all. And what these ladies did is something that I would tell you guys, and I know I told them not to do, but that doesn't mean anything because they don't always listen to me. And that is not to paint the inside of the track, okay? Because if you do, unless the paint is perfectly smooth, you're going to have little bumps, which are going to act like speed bumps. And then the worst thing that they did is they've got glitter on the inside. Okay? So there's no way that this is going to be one of the fastest roller coasters on CPEP Day. And then another thing, what I would recommend is before they paint it, they make sure it's nice and secure. You can see this has been moving around quite a bit, and I think they used, I do have some paint that's not acrylic, and it looks like that's what they used out here, because you can see it's kind of cracked. But I was surprised, it does actually work. I have one in my pocket here. The only thing this is missing is a cup. And by the way, for your roller coaster on CPAP day, it has to have some sort of receptacle to hold that egg. And I did bring eggs with us today so that we can have our competition. But the judges don't want to be covered with a splattered egg. So if you show up with your roller coaster and it doesn't have something to hold that egg, they won't test it until you can find something. So all I usually have the kids do is use any type of cup. Okay? And it doesn't matter if they lay the cup sideways. I've had some kids that will cut out the end and mount the cup just like that, as long as the egg can be inside there, so it's shielded, and as long as the marble can hit the egg, it's not obstructed, then that would that would meet the requirements. Okay, but you can put this so that marble doesn't go flying. But I think it should. So almost worked it out that little bit. But anyway, and that's one thing that may happen on CPEP day, whether I bumped it coming here, or maybe I just didn't start high enough. If it doesn't work after the first or second try, maybe third or fourth try, then what the judges normally do is they just say, okay, go off to the side, try it, tweak it a little bit. As soon as you get it to work, instead of getting back at the end of the line, you can come back and we'll test it. Let's see if it. Yeah, so it worked. It just getting caught a little bit right here. Okay, but this glitter is really. You can come up and look at it afterwards, but it's really, really heavy, especially right here, which slows down the marble. Okay, so like my head said, if his school won, basically, hopefully they looked at that rubric, right? And that's what I recommend have the kids do. Look at that rubric, and if they want a chance at winning, go for the highest point in each of the categories, which we'll go over when you start building the roller coaster. Okay, so the first experiment that I want you to try is to see if you can prove a force called centripetal force. Okay, and how many of you guys, or ladies, when you went to school, you heard of the term centrifugal force? Centrifugal. Okay, so did I. And it's funny, I have a student teacher now who's kind of a young guy, and I thought he would have known the difference between centrifugal and centripetal. But he didn't, and he said, once I explained to him, he said, I guess that is what the guy was saying. He had a strong accent. He just thought that the guy was mispronouncing centrifugal, okay? But as it turns out, and again, I didn't know this until I started building roller coasters with CPAP kids, that there actually is no such thing as centrifugal force. But if you had to define that, what would you say? Or what did our teacher tell us centrifugal force was? Centrifugal force was that force like when you're going around a circle that's kind of like pulling you outward, right? But that force really doesn't exist when you really, you think about it. Let's just say we're riding around in a car, Steve and I are sitting in the backseat of the car, we're cruising down the road 60 miles an hour, take kind of a sharp curve. We're gonna, say if we curve to the left, turn to the left, we're gonna slide up against the right side of the car, right? But it's not really, it's not centrifugal force, it's pulling us out towards that door. What is it? It's more like the inertia that's making us want to go straight. Like if the car was going straight, we're traveling with the car, so we want to keep going straight. If the car starts to turn, it's actually the wheels on the ground, and then the door that, once we slide up against that centripetal force, is holding us in place. Okay? So this first experiment, this is just a coat hanger. It's going to prove that, all right? And I'm sure with the video rolling, I'm not going to be able to do this the first time. Okay? But I'm going to give you all, and you can all take this hanger with you, and you can all take the pen with you. Okay, I'm going to give you all a pen. And hopefully, you guys, as well as me, without anybody getting a black eye, or bloody nose or anything, will be able to demonstrate centripetal force. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to move over here so I don't hit something. Okay. If you take this penny, and I like to put the head facing up, okay, put it right on the flat spot. Okay, and first it's going to take a minute or two just to get it to balance on there. Okay, and when I do that, the kid, since I always mess around with the kids anyway, they think I'm, trying to pull a fast one. Okay, but this is the real thing because I let them try it. So your first challenge is going to be to get that penny to stay on there and balance.